And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Starting out with the hazardous weather graphic again. Up to the north, still have winter storm, blizzard warnings, and winter weather advisories here for the eastern Arctic coast as winds continue to blow. And due to the strong winds blowing snow, reducing visibilities all across that area there and into the north slope as well. And then winter weather advisories for blowing snow and snow here along the Dalton Highway, and then also up around Anatuvik Pass. Winter storm warning here west of McGrath, and then winter weather advisories for the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta, Nunivak Island, and eastern Norton Sound, and still a winter storm warning out here for St. Lawrence Island and the Seward Peninsula. And for the southeast coast, we've got winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories here for several inches of snow in the advisory areas and closer to a foot in the warning areas there. Satellite imagery showing some moisture starting to push into the southeast coast. Actually, snow occurring today over especially the northern part of the Panhandle. Then we have a front here with this low right there coming northward across the Alaska Peninsula earlier today, moving directly north there, passing Cape Newenham and approaching the Yukon Delta and Nunivak Island area. The front right through this position here, bringing some areas of light snow with it. Snow at Kenai, for example, this afternoon, as well as Talkeetna, and areas of snow back to the west here, especially on the south coast of the Seward Peninsula. And still strong winds occurring all across the western interior and along the coast, and strong east winds up along the Arctic coast. Out to the west, you can see the next system here pushing clouds into the western Aleutians. On the chart, here's that low that came northward and is currently right about in this position west of Kuskokwim Bay there, and the front off to the east here. And winds gusting anywhere from 40 to 50 miles per hour all across the western interior areas. And Nome and Kotzebue seeing winds out of the east gusting 45 to 55 miles per hour. And also for the eastern Arctic coast there, winds out of the east gusting 45 to 65 miles per hour. Barter Island had a peak wind gust of 70 miles per hour earlier today. And as this storm came northward overnight last night, Nikolsky had a gust of 71 miles per hour. Otherwise, warm air pushing northward, spreading some clouds and areas of snow in across southern Alaska, especially the North Gulf Coast, sliding into the Panhandle there, but staying dry down to the south. This next system out here to the west will push a warm front northeastward here and begin to bring more rain into Adak and Atka. Heavier amounts of rain and gusty winds out toward Chimney and Attu. This low pulls northward to just east of St. Lawrence Island there. And so look for a lot of snow and blowing snow here, rotating around that center. A couple of troughs coming in. And again, the wind weather advisories, winter storm warnings out for tonight for the western part of the state, and spreading into the Seward Peninsula and into the Kobuk Valley late tonight. Otherwise, chance of snow across south central Alaska continues. Also up, had some light snow going on currently at Nome and also over here at Northway and Tok is what I wanted to say, but not much. Delta Junction, just mid and high level clouds there, that east wind continuing to blow. This low center, again, pushing a warm front, increasing the precipitation across the northern Panhandle and the North Gulf Coast. And then for tomorrow, that system doesn't move a whole lot, just kind of drifts eastward here with a warm front right along the southeast coast there. So continued snow, northern Panhandle, mixing and ending, tapering off down to the south. Rain or snow for the North Gulf Coast and toward the Kenai Peninsula, and probably some periods of snow moving across south central Alaska during the day tomorrow. Good chance of snow over much of the eastern interior. Heavier snow and gustier winds back here to the west there as this low weakens and pulls into the Chukchi Sea there, and troughs rotating around that center up to the north. And then right on its heels is the warm front here, spreading another round of warmer temperatures, gusty winds, and rain for the Pribilofs. And some of that will start out as snow when it reaches the Yukon Delta coast. And then the front trailing back, bringing some gale force winds into the western Aleutians with rain, possibly heavy at times. And then for Monday, this whole system shifts northward from about its position right here. It just tracks northeastward. Whoops, went back too far. There you got kind of a time lapse of it. And moves in toward the Chukchi Sea late in the day on Monday. So all of the heavier wind and precipitation will be up here to the west and northwest of the state. The Brooks Range are acting as kind of a barrier there. Downsloping on the north slope will keep it dry, and temperatures may rise up there with that southerly and southwesterly wind. Higher pressure makes for fair skies, light winds, and good dry conditions, as you can see from the central eastern Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula, right up into south central Alaska. Look for a partly sunny afternoon for areas of the Kenai Peninsula into the Copper River Basin, Manuska, Susitna Valley. Dry over the eastern interior areas, and low pressure finally drifts eastward here, keeping it unsettled for the southeast coast. Again, a lot less precipitation to the south, heavier up to the north and back toward Yakutat. Lows tonight, again, anywhere from 25 to 45 below in the eastern interior. Warmer in the west here, near 20 for Nome, and lower 20s across the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta, upper 20s Bristol Bay, upper 20s, lower 30s Alaska Peninsula, and lower 30s for the Aleutians. And in the teens over the northern panhandle here, with lower 20s down to the south, and then the highs still pushing, will push 40 there for Klawock, Craig, up to Sitka. About 10 degrees colder, 31 for the high for Juneau, and upper 20s up toward Haines and Skagway, and 30s over the eastern areas, Wrangell down to Ketchikan. Lows staying below zero here north of the Alaska Range into the central interior, and then warmer as you get out toward the Bering Strait, Seward Peninsula, lower 20s for Nome and Savunga, as well as the Yukon Delta, upper 20s Kuskokwim Delta, and lower near 30 here, or into the lower 30s for Bristol Bay, and near 40 or 45 for the Adak and Atka area. That'll be followed by lows below zero, eastern interior 25 to 35 below, and below zero for the Arctic coast as well, with teens now, Susitna Valley, Manuska Valley, into the Kenai Peninsula, mid-20s Kodiak Island, right around 0 to 5 above for the Copper River Basin, and lower 20s to lower 30s northern panhandle, actually all the way down to the Dixon entrance area. That'll be followed by highs. Again, warmer air coming northward here, so 30 to 35, Seward Peninsula, St. Lawrence Island, mid-30s for the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta, lower 30s Bristol Bay, and right around 40 for the Aleutians, upper 30s Kodiak Island, in the 20s for south central Alaska, and still below zero, but not as far as it has been there for the Yukon Flats up to Arctic Village, and right around zero over toward the eastern border there, otherwise 5 to 10 for the Tanana Valley out toward Tanana, and 30s to lower 40s for the Panhandle.